The Last Leaf. In a quiet corner of an old city, where narrow alleys twisted between crumbling brick buildings, lived two young artists, Sue and Johnsy. They shared a small apartment with a large window that looked out onto a gloomy courtyard where a vine crept up the wall of a neighboring building. The vine was thick with green leaves, a splash of life in the otherwise gray neighborhood. One autumn, Johnsy fell gravely ill with pneumonia. Day by day, she grew weaker, barely speaking, eating, or even moving. She lay in bed, gazing silently out the window at the vine. One day, Sue noticed Johnsy staring at the wall and counting softly under her breath. "What are you counting?" Sue asked gently. Johnsy didn't look away from the window. "The leaves," she said. "They're falling one by one. When the last leaf falls, I'll go too." Sue's heart sank. "Don't say that," she whispered. "You're going to get better." But Johnsy only shook her head. "No, the last leaf. That's when I'll know it's time." Worried, Sue went downstairs to speak with Mr. Berman, an elderly painter who lived in the building. He was gruff, solitary, and had never painted the masterpiece he always spoke about, but he had a kind heart. Sue told him about Johnsy, about the leaf, and how her friend had lost all hope. That night, a terrible storm swept through the city. Rain lashed the windows, and wind howled down the alley. Sue watched helplessly, fearing what the morning would bring. At dawn, Johnsy woke weakly and asked, "Is it still there?" Sue pulled back the curtain. There on the wall amid the rain and cold, a single green leaf still clung to the vine. Johnsy stared. "It's still there. After all that wind?" The day passed, then another, and the leaf never moved. Somehow, it held on, strong and bright. Slowly, a change came over Johnsy. She began to eat again, to speak, to hope. And with hope came healing. Days later, Sue sat at her bedside, holding her hand. "You're going to be all right," she said with a smile. "I think that leaf saved me," Johnsy whispered. "If it could survive, so can I." But soon after, Sue received somber news. Mr. Behrman had died of pneumonia. He had been found in his apartment, soaked to the bone and chilled from being out in the storm. And then Sue noticed something odd about the leaf. It hadn't moved in the wind. It hadn't changed color. She looked closely and realized the truth. It wasn't a real leaf at all. Mr. Behrman had gone out in the cold, in the dead of night, and painted that leaf on the wall, his final masterpiece, to give Johnsy the strength to live. Moral: hope is powerful. It can breathe life into a dying soul. And sometimes, the greatest acts of love are quiet, unseen, and given without expecting anything in return.